Alright, yeah, mate. Well, I have found the vehicle for you. This is phenomenal. This has a feature that you very rarely see in any other vehicles. Now, I have seen it once, and I can't even remember what type of vehicle it was in. This here, though you can't really read it, is a 2003 Pontiac Vibe. Now, the story behind this blows all logic out the damn window, because somehow GM and Toyota have a vehicle manufacturing plant that is actually owned by both GM and Toyota own the same plant. And, well, there must have been agreements, and, yeah, well, this is the Pontiac Vibe, and I believe the Toyota Matrix is very similar, if not a blasted, just a badge change. It may well be, I'm not certain on that, but it's extremely similar. In fact, this Pontiac, although it's a GM, has a Toyota engine in it, 1.8 litre. I didn't see the mileage, but I'm sure they said it, and I bet you it's bloody good, but the horsepower is actually fairly blooming good, actually. It's about 130, and I think it's detuned to 126 or 123 or something. When you get the automatic, they've got 5-speed manual, 6-speed manual, and a 4-speed auto. Yeah, there's also another engine that's a little bit better for a GT version. Then there's another, it's essentially the same engine. Then there's the same engine again that's got like a different looking inlet manifold, and apparently it's tuned by Yamaha or something. But it's all, not much different from the base engine anyway. And apparently the sporty one, it's nothing to write home about, to the point you probably wouldn't even bother buying it for the price difference. But anyway, just give me a second here. Back to this, yeah. Gear stick, guy's hand, cigarette lighter plug. That's a button that says 115 volts. That there says AC 115 volts, 100 watts, and then like a little PowerPoint plug. I shit you not, this damn thing has a built-in inverter. Now, I've seen that in one other vehicle, and I can't even remember what one, but I don't think it was as cheap as this thing's going to be. That is frickin' unbelievable. Unbloody-believable.
At the bottom is a cool 115-volt outlet for powering your daily low-wattage appliances like cell phones.
Yeah, never mind powering a cell phone out of it. You know what you can actually do? You can charge a laptop out of that. Now, here's the thought. You got USB batteries. See, I'm going to paint a picture here and tell you how you can go about not even having a coach battery at all. You've got a cigarette lighter plug there. Now, everybody knows most cigarette lighter plugs have at least 2 in the front. Well, now you get like 2 USB ports. Well, now you can get ones with 4, just on the one little thing that'll go straight in. Now, in the van, a lot that I've got, most of you know, my van has one that's got 2 in the plug that goes in, and then you've got a lead, and it goes to another 2 that's about, 4 foot, 5 foot long. And yeah, that gives you 4 ports. And each of these, I think, has at least 2 amps. It may be more. I think it might be 2.4 amps worth of USB charging. Now, those of you who, like most of us, have USB batteries, you'll know that you can get ones with a torch in the front. In fact, the last 2 that I had that both shit themselves recently, and yes, the other one has finally died, they both had torches in them, and a lot of these things do, and there you go. There's your lighting. That's it. There you go. Failing that, you can buy, and I've got one, it's like a flexible stalk like you sometimes see on stove lighters, that sort of thing, with a LED light in the end and the USB plug at the other end. You know, then you can have USB fans, you can have USB heating like I do, you can have USB lighting either individually plugged in or built in as part of the USB battery. In fact, there's even USB batteries that I'm seeing now that I only found out about watching something on Japan to find. They're all over eBay that have got heating inside the USB battery. So you charge it up, but it's got heating lines inside it. And instead of having a torch where you hold down the power button for 3 seconds for the torch to come on, you hold it down and the heating element inside comes on. I shit you not. I'm not saying it's an electric hot water bottle, but it's something. You know, it's something that you have about 4 of those in bed at night, and you'll probably be pretty good. What about this? Well, instead of needing to charge your laptop all over the damn place, you can charge it up every time you drive. Now, it's a bit of a long stretch, but you could also, of course, you know, laptops, they can take 65 watts, 60 watts. I think my last one was 60 watts. The one before that was 65 watts. The current one takes 21 watts. If you get the right compressor fridge, like the Engel, write it down, E-N-G-E-L, which is like mine, you've got a solenoid, like a Faraday coil type solenoid, and a spring. And that is what pushes the piston up and down, is a spring and a solenoid. And there is no damn crankshaft. So you don't have that startup surge. Secondarily, not only is there lack of a startup surge, there is really low power consumption. It uses a maximum of 21 watts, but usually it's about 18.5 watts. And it might start at 21 if it starts up and it's, you know, a cold morning or whatever. And, you know, within a few seconds it's down to, you know, 18.5 watts anyway. Usually it's 18.5 watts at that type of thing takes. That's just your standard Engel, like your 40 litre, your 32 litre, stuff like that. My uncle's friend is off-grid. Originally he never had, he's always been off-grid, way back in the 90s and everything. Originally he never had solar panels, and what he used to have is a diesel generator, one of those low RPM, single cylinder, chug 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 type diesel generator. Anyway, every night he used to run it probably 5 hours, maybe 3, but I think realistically speaking, I think he was running it 5 hours a night, if I remember correctly. He had a freezer, no fridge, just a freezer, and everything in the freezer would always remain frozen during the day, but his freezer, he would run that for 5 hours, and that would run almost continuously, like you start the generator and then switch it on, and it'll run almost continuously in the 5 hours. It'll run quite a lot in that 5 hours, of course. I'm not certain if the thermostat wasn't completely buggered in the thing and it just ran constantly anyway because of a broken thermostat. But he would run it those 5 hours and everything would stay frozen inside the freezer all the time. Trouble is, you ain't driving 5 hours a day. But I haven't said that. If you switch this thing, like my one is, you can turn it right down to freeze, and I think, you know, the steel-cased models, I know they go down to deep freeze. If you had that switched to deep freeze, and you only drove for 20 minutes or half an hour a day, with that turned down to deep freeze, guess what? It's going to at least be a fridge inside, isn't it? 20 minutes a day running its guts out. Hey, it might well do it. 20 minutes in the morning, you know, 20 minutes in the afternoon, it might well do it, and you might get away with having a freezer that's one of those low amperage Engel, because you're not going to do it with a 75 watt bloomin' crankshaft compressor, because that, you know, it won't start up off of this, whereas the design of the Engel Sawai Fuji spring motor, swing swing motor, rather, that probably will. It probably will do something. Failing that, you know, you can always make something up with Peltiers and whatnot. But, you know, you might be a bit out on a fridge. But then again, what's your fridge situation now? Your fridge situation now is a bad fucking joke, isn't it? So, anyway. I'm going to pause this for a second and we'll jump ahead and I'll show you how all this folds flat in the back. It's phenomenal. Alrighty, there we go. Driver's seat, front passenger folded down. And there's your back. And all of this is all tie-down points that slide along your black lines there. And you've got adjustable, you've got tie-downs there, tie-downs up, I think up near the window. There, above the wheel well, you've got two. I think you've got another two down on the side of your wheel well thing there. And you've got these adjustable ones that slide. And, yeah. So if you couldn't if you couldn't sleep in that, there's something wrong. Failing that, you'd get something that's just like a bit of 4x2 on its side, on a bit of plywood, and it'll be able to go from here right over the top of the passenger seat there. Sure, you might miss your wheel well thing there, but you know, you'll find stuff to store in there. And if you can see that one on the right there, it's actually got like a big dimple in the blooming thing like that, whereas the one on the left hasn't. I don't know how they managed to pull that off. Anyway, probably something to do with the whole seat design and everything in the back, but or the armrest design or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I think this is an absolute blooming ripper option. You know, it is quite, and all this is like a really hard plastic, I think, too. It looks like it because it's all white and just it showed him folding the seats down. So yeah, I reckon that'd be a bloody brilliant option. And aside from maybe, you know, having a little bit hard with a fridge or whatever, or having to work some sort of a jig out with a, you know, freezer setup. And there's nothing wrong with having cables come through and having a relay so that you hit the little relay switch, and you know, it will turn on cables coming directly from the battery like I've had put into my vehicle, but make yours turn on the freezer. So as you're driving, you turn the relay switch on when your engine's running, and then once you're done, you turn it off again. You know, and it'll save you spending a few $100s on another battery, you know. And all you got to do is, actually, I know exactly what you got to bloody do because I've seen all this play out before. When you have an automatic vehicle that has an option of a manual, you will have in the floor a little plate that will come out with two screws where the clutch is meant to go through in the firewall. You take that out, you jam your cables through there. Maybe you try and stuff them underneath the carpet. Maybe you hold them up with duct tape. Maybe you jam them up underneath the dash and hold them there with zip ties. And you're fine. You've got your blasted cables through without a whole lot of bullshit. And that's not how my van was done. My van was done a little bit different to that. But that is an option, and that's an easy way that you can do it yourself, or get Hosey to do it. And, you know, it's, yeah, it saves having to go absolutely Burko. It'd be by trying to find a hole, but you'd have to actually, you might have to stick your head up under the dash. And if you do, I don't even think you need to move the carpet, because old Nissan I had, that was like that. You didn't even need to pull the carpet out. There was a hole there for the clutch thing to go through, and that was it, you know. And you just took these two Phillips head screws out, and bingo, you know. And I had a little trickle charger that would sit on the dash, and it went through cables through there, right in onto the battery to trickle charge the battery with this very, very crappy plastic case solar panel that was likely to get water in it and turn to shit inside the vehicle, sitting on the dashboard to stop it from turning to shit from rain, sort of thing. So yeah, there you go. And I think, you know, like a 1.8 litre variable valve tyre, like this thing, the mileage is going to be phenomenal. You can look it up, you lazy bugger. Pontiac vibe, you know. I would not recommend getting the Toyota version, because simply by having the Toyota badge, the price would bloody jump another, the price would jump another 40% knowing the way things go when you have a Toyota badge on things. So get the Pontiac one, because it'll be a lower value, but essentially all the drivetrain, all that bullshit, that is all, the engine, the whole of that's all Toyota. It's fucking Pontiac badges and I don't know how much, but the guts of it, and the drivetrain and all that, and I think you know, a lot of it really is a Toyota. And but if you get the Toyota one, yeah, all of a sudden just that badge being on there is going to really change things. Although they both come out of the same plant, yeah, they're manufactured in the same place in California, with all the blooming complications of all their pollution rules and their entanglements on building codes and all that. Somehow they got a car manufacturing plant, GM and Toyota, in California, or at least they did have in the early 2000s. I find that remarkable.